be their first time doing it.
Oh.
Soniqs will ban out Lion. They don't want to deal with that. Lion and Ying are two operators that are very oppressive to deal with on defense. Spacestation, unsurprisingly, likes bringing both of them. When Spacestation played on this map against both Dark Zero and then last week against Mirage, they banned the same attacker both times, Thatcher. On defense, they banned Mira, and then they banned Valk. This time, they're going to ban a zombie. So that's a third time that they have banned a different operator on defense. It's anybody's guess as to what Soniqs will remove. Could be a Kaid, could be a Mira, but they're taking their sweet time. What do you think? Who do you predict?
Valkyrie?
It was already on the screen when you said it.
I know, but you asked me so late. Like, what was this to do?
I don't know. You could have just jumped in at some point and been like, you know what my job as a color commentator is? My job is to predict these things and to couch my analysis in statistics. And that statistical analysis is exactly why they pay you the big bucks. That's correct.
Wait, you're getting paid for this? I thought we were just kind of hanging out. You're...
No.
No?
No.
Good. Okay, I thought I was getting trolled there for a second. No, I was being here for the vibes of you guys, make some friends and whatnot. Of course, to watch some Rainbow Six Siege every single week because...
Nobody believes you.
Fine, whatever.
Nobody believes you.
I too get paid, whatever.
Of course, it's a job. Very first bomb site on the defense for Soniqs. We'll be upstairs on that Armory bomb site that we talk about every single time that this map comes up. It is the most played bomb site, but Border's actually really close. And I say that because not including the stats from the matchup that just occurred. If you didn't tune into Dark Zero versus Astralis, they came here to Border. Excluding those stats, the bomb site rotations, 9 plays for Archives and Armory, 6 plays for Ventilation Workshop, and 6 plays for Teller's Bathrooms. And it was a pretty even spread between those 3 bomb sites. In the DZ Astralis match, Customs showed up 1 time, and it was the first time that it showed up here in North America. One thing to note about this bomb site is that while Border is defender-sided in North America, this bomb site is not. It is the only bomb site, minus Customs, that has a positive win rate for the attackers.
Yet it's the favored one for most teams, so whether that's...
Curious.
Yeah, curious, right? Is that a comfort thing? Is people not like reading to the stats too much? Of course, just your own confidence in how you can play a certain bomb site. We'll see now how Soniqs will do and how they'll fare. They got a pretty standard lineup here, nothing quite out of the ordinary. They got information, they got wall deny, they got verticality, of course. They got protection from those nades, as both the Waman Jaeger is in play. From SSG, they like bringing that flexibility. That's why the Lion got target band on them. No Ying right now. They got the Nomad for the map control. They got verticality. They got soft destruction, which is a single heartbreach on faults on this ace operator.
It's an interesting setup that we see from Soniqs right now, holding 90, very different from other borders that we've seen, and just like that, they're quick to the punch on Space Station side of things. Rampy walks in, down goes Yeti. No way to hold that 90 panel, so all of that effort from Soniqs, all for naught, but for now, Rexon is still there, and he has a long range of sight with the DMR in hand, but gets spotted by a drone and knows that that might be it for him. Backing his way into office, and Fountain will likely be where he sits unless Soniqs are confident in holding office.
We can see just how important that 90 position was, because the moment Yeti fell, the other 2 members of Grixer and Rexon immediately fell off their positions and played more passive, because now that middle link that puts everything together is completely gone. The only upside right now for Soniqs is that they have east stairs control still, which means they have some sort of map presence. But SSG, they can just start hitting down these walls onto the bomb site, start breaching it up, and start setting up for that execute phase of planting. With Hot and Cold on Nomad, their flank should be pretty well covered.
Kanza needs to be worried about both the left and the right, as he can be pushed from the metal detector at the top of the stairs, but is now under fire from the opening that's been created from the hard breach onto the Armory wall. And down he goes to Fultz. It's Grixer in the line of sight, but there's a nade from below to take him out, and SSG burst into the bomb site. Yeah, Fultz is downed, but you've got diffuser control, you've got site control, and you're good to start to get that plant down. But Bosco has other ideas. In the middle of getting the diffuser down, it's a kill on the Skies that had happened just a second earlier, and Soniqs will need to bail themselves out of this situation. Super and Rexon working in tandem, but Super shut down by Hot and Cold. It's very nearly a team ace. All it's going to take is Bosco to get a kill, and then you're as close as you're going to get. Twitchiness of Rexon over towards 90. It's got information on the Nomad, but it's Hot and Cold to secure the final 2 kills and give Space Station the very first round.
What about Kits Guys? He didn't have a kill. He was dead.
Kits Guys did not, but he was dead.
So he doesn't count? He's not a part of the team? You said team ace.
No, I said very nearly a team ace if they get that kill, because then Skies would be the only person who doesn't have a team kill, which is as near to a team ace as you're going to get.
Sure.
I said nearly a team ace if he gets the kill, which means that they would have 4 players with kills. Everything I said was correct. Check the record.
Sure, yeah.
Check the record. Check the record.
I'm going to get production on the phone
Wheel
right
it
now.
up. Wheel it up. You're going to get Dark Zero on the phone? You should tell him to win their matches.
Come on, that's not what I said. I said production, not get the phone, Parker. You behave.
I heard Dark Zero. I heard you say I'm going to get Dark Zero on the phone.
I
was
swear
like,
I said production. I
odd
swear.
that you would call Dark Zero right now.
Well, yo, Troy, why'd you lose today, buddy? He's like, I'm sorry, Nick. I'm like, you know, it's okay. I'll forgive you, buddy. Next week, we'll get a dub.
He did tweet that it was a bad day for him. GG's on to TSM tomorrow, is what he said.
Yeah, but...
keeping that positive spirit.
But are they going to beat TSM?
You know, it's like if Troy were to get a tattoo on his body, he would definitely get Live, Laugh, Love somewhere.
Or just get, woo! It's like a dub with a bunch of O's.
It could be. The same way that it's, what is it, on the R4C skin. The Evil Geniuses R4C skin.
Does it say woo?
He actually left the org before the skin came out, which is the best part of it all, is that his woo was like iconic for that team, and then it's like they announce and unveil the R4C skin with woo on it, and Troy's already on Space Station. Oh well, you know, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Production delays, you know.
Life goes fast, you know.
Absolutely. Round number 2. Speaking of going fast, we're through the prep phase and now 30 seconds into action. It's a workshop ventilation defense for Soniqs. Can't go back to Armory because they won it. Or rather, they lost it. They could have gone back to Armory, but instead opting otherwise to go downstairs to the bomb site. That is actually the most defender-sided of all the bomb sites, as we talked about before.
Yep, ventilation it is. And I mean, in that first round, we saw SSG get the opening kill, the plant, and the round, so that everything really going for them. That first opening kill happened at about this time, you know, about the 1 minute 50-ish time into the round. So we'll see if Rexen falls, or if he can stay alive. Nomad being brought once again because SSG, they want more guns looking forward in that aggressive direction, with the air jabs taking care of the flank duty, limiting Soniqs' capabilities of moving around the map, which of course, when you're playing the Oryx, that can be quite beneficial as an attacker to ensure that the flank doesn't go through. Rexen feels too under pressure. He shot a few drones, drops down that hatch and falls back, now giving SSG what they wanted in that office area. But there's more map they gotta clear. We got Kansen inside of Armory, holding down this area, and you can't really do any vertical control damage on towards the bomb site unless you clear out Armory as well, so it's gonna be a full sweep from SSG.
And they sweep in correctly. Hot and Cold picks up kill number 3 in a row as he'd gotten the final 2 exit kills, and now Rampy will break that streak. Soniqs falling apart, but Kansen gets one of his own. Adding to it is a team kill from SSG. I don't know what Skies was doing, but a bit of friendly fire weakens the numbers, and when it comes to a game like this, how close it can be, it's particularly dire. Hot and Cold down 2, so Soniqs now with the advantage because of the assist from Space Station. Not great.
Bit unfortunate. Of course, these things happen, and when you got 4 players inside the same area on the map, you know, you can get huddled up really quick. Then you're moving around, shooting people, navigating ground, vertical damage, and it comes out. It's not cooked long enough, so enemy runs away. That is the smoke of Super running for his life, staying alive. He has 3 toxic babes left. The first one goes out. 30 seconds left, and SSG, it's Bosco and Sky's got to clutch it up now for their team.
If there were 2 players on this team with that clutch factor, though, it's got to be both of them, as we've talked about before, how many times Bosco has clutched out, but Soniqs have 2 good players of their own. Super cannon fodder for Skies. Ground down to a pulp, and it's back to a 2v2. Not a lot of time left. Kansen under fire. Sidearm out, and he gets dusted off by Bosco, who's in the middle of the bomb site. Grixer needs to retake. He's so close, and he sees him shutting him down. Suddenly, Skies needs to drop, but it'll be a game of keep away as Grixer wisely just plays time and gives his team the win. All tied up at 1 apiece.
That's a tough one because Grixer rotated off the bomb site all the way back into customs in blue, and when SSG found that member beneath the bomb site itself from the hatch angle, they did not expect a second player to be creeping around, so they gambled the 50-50 on where he might be. They gambled wrong, and therefore they got punished. It was Grixer finding a free kill as both of their backs were turned, then he ran for the hills because time was on his side. It's tied up 1 round apiece now for both of these teams, and we're going to be going towards that bathroom bomb site instead. So already 3 rounds, 3 different bomb sites, but a very similar lineup for the attack inside of SSG. They feel like this is what they want to bring because it's quite flexible, right? You got vertical self-destruction, you got grenades, you got hard breach, and you got flank watch. You don't really need to go, outside of that comfort zone unless you really want to. They are bringing both the Ace and the Thermite now, which arguably is a little bit overkill unless you want to really hit multiple walls. So they do have a bit of flexibility that they could go on to. For example, the Jackal from Force in that last 7 seconds to help alleviate the issue of the roam clear. I think this makes sense, seeing as Soniqs, they are extending up above, and we can see that very aggressive operators. They got Melusi, the Alibi, and the Muzzy all going to be in their faces, trying to challenge them at every single angle. And something that we spoke on the desk with Jobro as well, is that Super has changed up his position in his team, now playing in those tough spots where you might find yourself just like dying more often than not on the Jaeger of all operators. And while he might not get the most kills, he plays that position, he might fall early, then he gets to lead his team from the grave, holding cameras and organizing who goes where. So losing Super early is almost a good thing in this case because he's the leader.
Well, he's been one of the last ones alive for his team through those 2 rounds, though. So.
The first 2.
The first 2.
Watch him die first this one.
Well, I mean, you might be willing it into existence, Nick, but we'll
very
see about
front
that
forward position in these stairs. It's the first point of contact if SSG comes to that area of the map.
Grixer's got backup, knowing a drone is coming in towards the front door. Might want to get on out at some point. Nook being a favorite operator for Space Station 2. Got some explosive potential. And with Zofia as well to boot. Focus on Armory at the moment with a minute off of the clock. That's where Space Station is stacked up. Diffuser will be walked in by Bosco, but it's miles away from the bomb site on the other side of the building. It's a bathroom teller's defense on that bottom floor. SSG have taken some of the top floor, and as you talked about, Super being the first one in point of contact, well, guess what? He's holding the top of the stairs in a position where Hot and Cold could easily spy him, but some castle barricades will keep him safe for the time being.
For the time being so far, and I mean, it's going to slow down SSG, but if they want to strike, they can. They still want to get this last piece of information. Only 5 drones to go. It's limited. Angled opened up. Stun comes through. Confirms that Super's whereabouts are, in fact, on the east stairs area. But as long as Super just talks behind this half wall, they can't really do much about his position right now.
There's a lot of gunfire being used, but not a lot of it is finding its mark. Yet he's bogged down inside of office, about to be pushed by one of the players from Space Station. If they've droned him out and there's an explosion on the wall, that yet he knows someone is nearby. Now through the soft wall, it's Rampy opening up a line of sight. They don't have much intel.
Nope.
In terms of drones, there's 3 active drones for Space Station. Make that 4. One of those concussive blasts goes off, gives Yeti's position away, and he's done for. Bosco collapses on him. Super heads for the hills on east stairs, taking some damage in the process. Open bomb site down below. They spot it. Rexon had been damaged too, and now he's as good as gone. That leaves 30 seconds for Space Station in a 5v3 to pounce on the remaining players of Soniqs. But where are they? That's the real question. Again, intel could potentially be the issue for Space Station. They've killed now 10 seconds, but Kansan gets shot from an angle he doesn't suspect. Space Station just destroying Soniqs at this point. And the last one alive is Super, but he gets a kill, an exit frag onto Hot and Cold, and now he himself will exit through the customs door. Passport towards lobby, firing away at the soft wall. He's got a lot of bullets, why not? Aha, funny number. 69 bullets were left in the mag, by the way, as he's taken out by Space Station after the diffuser goes down. That was a formality, though, as there were still 4 players from SSG up. Hard to imagine that going through that passport door into the lobby for Super would have paid any dividends. That round was over the moment that 3 of the 5 players for Soniqs were down, and the diffuser got planted shortly thereafter. That's on the road to Space Station, regaining the lead.
And we'll say that SSG is looking very good. I mean, they've gotten all 3 opening kills, and sure, Soniqs, they got the 1 round of ventilation defense, but it came down to Grixer with the clutch, and SSG just having, not enough time to really take enough time to find a safe plant position. So it really has been a dominant SSG so far, and we got the question now, who will get more kills, players with or without Super's charm? And I've seen multiple, if not all of SSG's players with the Super charm, so I guess that the only obvious answer here is people with the Super Charm will get more kills because the NAL is just a bunch of good lads. They're helping each other out, repping the charm that is new to the NAL, that is Super's. It's very kind of them. And Super himself on social media has been making a lot of jokes and memes and fun about whenever somebody does well, it's the Super Charm, it's not the player. So keep our eyes on that as we keep going. SSG now actually starting to use their attacker repick capabilities. They are back onto the Nomad, they got the Flores, and they got the Hibana. So they've actually been using all 3 different hot breaches now of Ace, Hibana, and the Thermite. Now they bring different things with different bomb sites. When you're going upstairs in Armory, it's safer to breach the walls, open up with anything that is throwable, so Ace and Hibana. But the one thing here is that you get flashbangs. And when you're playing against both, you know, a Rooney and a Jaeger, and possibly even a Y, because that Soniqs brought it the last time around, you want as many throwables as possible so that these nades can strike through and get kills, or at the very least do some damage.
The same position, playing to die for Super on the top of East Stairs. There's no angle from the outside balcony that Rampy can really use to his advantage now, as the Surya gate is there, but Bosco will come in to break it. You don't need those X-Kairos. What did you say? Maybe when you were talking before about bringing too much hard breach utility, well, you just use 2 of those X-Kairos pellets to
spare.
Relatively great success. Super still in this spot, and now it's Rampy's turn to do it. Super gets away, and nobody really seems to be on the hunt, but here's Hot and Cold. Cue the Jaws theme song. Da-na, da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. And Hot and Cold picks up 2 kills just like that. There's blood in the water, and Spacestation is happy to sniff it out.
Yep. The thing about Super in that position is, Hansen, such a good shot with the SMG-11 is what we see, but the issue with Super in these, like, play-to-die spots that he often will fall back and kind of give up the ground and just die, where you kind of need to fight your way out of it. You want to put a player in a position that can fight your way out, get a kill, do some damage, because if you're only going to really waste time, you're not doing the most impactful job possible, and that's kind of the problem here. Rexen falls with Super, and sure, they trade one back from Kansan, but now you're still 1 man down with 1:10 to go, and SSG are once again in the driver's seat for the second half.
Unless it's pre-placed, there's no Nitro Cell for Kansan, which means that Soniqs have no overt denial outside of these 2 Yokai drones, both of which are still up and are positioned in sneaky ways so they can be brought to stop a plant as it goes down. With 50 seconds left and Bosco holding that diffuser, a numbers advantage in favor of Space Station. An objective play for SSG has been good so far. You'd imagine that the goal is to try and get that diffuser planted. Adrenal Surge will bail out both Fultz and Bosco, who were near death in terms of HP. And now Rotero drones will go in to open up the doorway leading into the staff area. Yeti over towards Fountain, that's his position. He needs to watch that A bomb site where you can see one of the players from Space Station is closing in on. And the Finka of Rampy is there too. A nice flick over to the side, sees Yeti. That's a relatively easy kill for Rampy, and Adrenal Surge again will give more life to Space Station as they have the diffuser in hand. A beautiful shot. Rampy has an opportunity to go for more. Diffuser planted by Bosco. And Kansan will need to fight himself out between a rock and a hard place. He's on literally 1 HP. Next to nothing left. A light breeze will take him out. What? Oh my goodness, and Kansan is in much better shape than we thought. But just like that, Rampy ensures that the clock strikes midnight and back to a pumpkin you go. No Cinderella story for Kansan on that round. Space Station will stretch their lead after successful entry and successful execution onto the bomb sites 3-1.
Kansan might not have gotten kills that mattered much in that round, but all 3 of his kills that he got were incredible shots with this SMG-11. All long distance, all basically one-shot headshot, all first bullet headshot as well. And you think to yourself, that's not winnable. But we see Kansan do these things sometimes where you think, how are you doing it? It's the shotgun, it's the SMG-11. He is one of the smoke/mute players that we recognize for their greatness in those clutch moments. Of course, it wasn't enough. It was a nice try. 1-3 now with SSG leading the score, and we're gonna just keep trying to force these bomb sites back and forth as we go. Ventilation. Last time the Soniqs, they came out victorious, but again, it was down to that 1v2 from Grixer. He found the guy with the diffuser, ran away, time ran out. Before that, it was SSG, roam clearing the top area of the map, and they unfortunately team killed a member of the squad, therefore giving Soniqs a way easier time than they normally would. So this time Soniqs will have to hold on to the top floor for longer or do it more successfully to deny SSG what they want. But look at this lineup. This is the flexibility that we know and love SSG for. Ying, Glass, both playing smokes, only with the Hibana being the hot breach, we could easily see a direct side rush, we could see a top floor rush. They can do anything because nothing on the defensive side besides a single bulletproof camera can really stop them.
And it's both an execute-heavy lineup, but also there's a lot of kill potential there, right?
Absolutely.
And if you look at the kills, that tell a story of its own. Outside of the 3 exit kills that Kansan got on the previous round, it's grim for this SQ squad. They have really struggled to win their engagements.
Oh.
This might be a quick one for Hot and Cold. He botches what might have been a botch on a smoke. There goes a second. That's a ton of utility burned out for Hot. And we'll now go on to Drone. Fultz just narrowly missing out on the foot of the Legion of Yeti. First kill goes to Space Station, though. They will continue this border match that we have seen following the border match that preceded it, which is that the attackers always get this opening pick. Say goodbye to Kansan. The one lucky charm for Soniqs no longer available.
It almost like SSG forced the movement from Soniqs with that fake execute. I mean, they got top lock control for free, they got the opening kill, I'm not sure exactly where, but they forced the defenders to move so much that they've gotten all this ground so quickly. But now, of course, with lack of information, they don't exactly know where the whereabouts are from Soniqs, and therefore they strike back.
First kill for Yeti, but he's taken out by Bosco shortly thereafter. So Bosco, these 2 kills on an operator, that has plenty of kill potential, but isn't often in those situations to do a lot of damage. Rexon's been isolated over on the east stairs. I don't know if somebody from Space Station is watching him or not, but he's far removed from the actual action, unless he decides to get a little bit crafty, and maybe a flank through security and break room could be the play. Another smoke will go out, hide the coverage of Fultz as creeps up onto the ground, and Super could peek this, but he looks the wrong way. An easy pick for Fultz. Down goes Super. A rotate as well, and Fultz doesn't miss those shots. Grixer, no chance whatsoever, so it's all up to Rexon, who will give his position away.
He has upplanted in 4 out of 5 rounds, and they've gotten the opening kill in all 5. So they are checking every single box right now.
Oh, what a dominant performance. And this looks more like Soniqs from the last stage than the Soniqs that we saw win the NAL and the Soniqs that made a deep run at the 6th Invitational. Again, Berlin is on the line, not just posterity and not just 6 invitational points, because while all this conversation is going on, by the way, you might not make it to a major, but if you can consistently be 5th in the league, you actually have a pretty good shot of making it to the 6th Invitational next year, just based on how SI points are doled out. But coming into this matchup, we talked about it, Soniqs were in a spot to qualify for Berlin. Space Station was not. They were just on the outside looking in. With a performance like this today for Soniqs, they are running up against an SSG that seems almost revitalized, but also is very comfortable on this map. It's no surprise with the fact that SSG have been comfortable enough to go to border and also prevailed 2-0 in both of those matches that we would see this performance from Space Station. But I will say, that Thursday match, or the Wednesday match last week was against Mirage. SSG had some very obvious struggles against Mirage.
They did.
That you probably shouldn't have with the way Mirage has been playing recently. Space Station do not seem to be committing those same errors against Soniqs, which is why I think we see it such a lopsided score.
And the thing is, if SSG can comfortably win border and they're comfortable going here so many times, while they're doing really good on one particular map, they're also hiding a majority of their map pool for future games to come. So once they go up against opponents that might not be as easy or as free or whatever you want to say, they have other things up their sleeve they've been hiding and cooking up, which is further going to increase their advantage in those specific matchups. Whereas if you're a team who plays a new map every single week, you're slowly revealing your card, or quickly actually, revealing your own cards and what you might have up your sleeve instead. Now we see SSG changing the tempo here. They're playing super slow, waiting around, holding angles. Volkswagen gets an easy kill once again, opening kill every single round for SSG.
Rexon was the one being hunted down next. There was a call that was made. You could see from the way that Fultz looked over. After the Finca of Rampy was positioned on that Armory wall, and Rampy is a pretty good 7-1 with Fultz 7-2. This is the vintage SSG that we're used to seeing, where both of them carry the weight on their team in terms of killing potential. Again, another opening pick, and Space Station have all 6 first bloods in the first half.
Super is hiding in office, and then SSG does not know his whereabouts. Guys looks to walk in, but XU comes out. Last guy's upstairs at this point.
Not ideal whatsoever for Grixer to fall. You need a strong performance from him. Super danced away from the nade, but not from the LMG. Diffuser going down. Bosco looking for yet another point just to add to this tally. Rexon will retake from above. Kansan has huge clutch potential, and he lines up 2. A third could be found not too far off. Odds still stacked in favor of Space Station, but there's always magic to be had when Kansan's on the field. to work between the 30 seconds that are left on this clock. Rexen retaking from above. Again, Spacestation need to shut down these two players of Soniqs before they can hop on the diffuser. Rexen gives his position away, dropped. Skies catches that one. It's all up to Kansan, and Skies misses out on the opportunity. Kansan picks up a kill, number 3, but Bosco says, that's all you get. Another 3K from Kansan, but impactless kills as the clutch is not enough to stave off defeat. And that's a pretty solid first half. 5-1 for Spacestation.
It's a very, very good first half. And I mean, the change of pace from SSG, playing super slow in the first minute and 30 into rushing the bomb site without even droning it fully. Super was hiding inside of office next to all 3 members of SSG. And the other 2 members of Soniqs, they're so far off the bomb site that, as I was saying, it's going to end up with the last man on defense being, you know, upstairs in the bomb site while SSG are just running around the first floor. And that's exactly what happened, because you just go for it, right? You catch somebody off guard, you have a 5 versus 3, you can brute force the bomb site knowing only 1 or 2 guys are likely gonna be there, and then play your post-plant positions after, which they did. Super, who was hiding inside of office, even came back to the archives hatch, looked down, immediately shut down. Then you're trying to flank through blue. Sure, Kansan gets 2 kills, but after that, shut down as well. So the gaps are really closing for Soniqs right now, and only 1 player seems to be able to find any of those. It's Kansan, 7 and 6. Then it goes 2 and 5 as your second highest gunner of Grixer and Finga, 1 and 6 Yeti, 1 and 6 Rexen, 1 and 6 Super. No one's really shooting back right now. That holy trinity, or the 4 people that we normally expect from Soniqs to show up, they're not here right now.
And also worth noting again, 6 of those 7 kills from Kansan came from 2 3Ks in failed clutches.
Exit kill, so is he 1 and 6 technically speaking?
I mean in terms of kills that truthfully matter in the cut and thrust of a round, I think it's easy to say that he should be effectively 1 and 6, but or maybe even like 1 and 4 if we want to be generous and say that those 2 deaths in the clutches were not necessarily his responsibility. But those kills from Grixer and Super and Rexen, they came so early in the match. I feel like Grixer's been sitting on 2 kills since the 2nd round. So the fact that his gun has been quiet for the majority of this matchup is not great.
No, it's not. I mean, gun power is a big part of Border, so if you're having a bad day on the guns inside the server, then you're gonna have a bad time as a team, because you need to find these opening kills, and the only way to do that is to fight. You can't really strategically do much on the defensive side if attackers are coming at you. So we're gonna see Hot and Cold continues to swing, peek on this window, and try and get aggressive. This nade could make their lives so much easier, but it gets caught by a magnet instead and rendered useless.
Hot knows that the next one is lined up. It goes over his shoulder. The Yana jumps in. Who prevails? It's Rexen. So the attackers have every opening pick. This time, though, it's Soniqs, the first to find the score sheet. Half of the round used, and again, lots of utility were expended to flush Hot and Cold out of security. It ultimately ends up being successful. But how much time did the Soniqs potentially waste by not being more coordinated on Hot and Cold? That's the question.
Time, of course, still good to go. Got over a minute left for at the attacking side. We got tons of utility being spent for security, but it's gonna be worth it, because this is arguably the hardest part right now of getting the entry. You've done just that. Now, put your eyes towards the bomb site. You gotta go either Armory or you gotta go Archives itself. With all the members of Soniqs being inside security, it looks like they're favoring the Armory side of things. And honestly, with Ace being on the board, not a bad choice at all. This one wall is, of course, soft, gives you a bit of line of sight. Speaking of that, Rexen finds one from a long angle from security all the way into Fountain.
He has both kills so far. Soniqs sweeping through this SSG defense. Finally, Spacestation finds their footing. It's on to Yeti. Toxic Canister goes out. Bosco will need to watch 2 separate avenues, very similar to what we saw at Kansan when he was in this position for Soniqs on defense. Right now, playing Sandwich. Toxic Canisters to go out. 20 seconds remaining, and still one more Toxic Babe in the pocket of smoke. But an aid will dislodge him from his spot, meaning Skies will have to clutch, and Kansan says, nope. We need this round more than you do. It could have been match point for Spacestation, but they're denied that opportunity. They'll need to look for it in another round, because Soniqs take their very first attack.
And that's just the story of Armory, I feel like. You know, you can't really hold security that well. It's also why Customs as a bomb site isn't very played, and when it is, it doesn't have a very good defending win rate. Security is the attacker's playground. Sure, the defenders, they start with the control, but they can almost never hold on to it unless you just swing and get crazy amounts of kills. And the way Soniqs dealt with this was quite nice. They threw in flashbangs, they cleared out the ADS and the Midas, and they tossed in the grenades, and with the explosion, jumped in the window, took the gunfight with 2 members, and even if they got traded 1-for-1, getting that ground the way that they did is still worth it for them. After that, I mean, it's just about working the Armory angle. They did that, they walked in, they got, you know, all the kills, didn't even need to start planting at all. And that is the story of Armory bombsite, which is why we see ventilation and bathroom tellers being played more, or at the very least, being played less, but having more success when they are being played. And because the bombsite changes, so does almost the entire attacking lineup. Nomad getting seen play from Ace to Thermite because there are bigger walls you gotta deal with. Buck because of verticality and projectiles such as flashbangs. So Soniqs are preparing themselves for any scenario here with both the Thermite and the Ace in the board. They can attack from either the East Terrace side to Office or the Armory side into Archives. Plenty of options for them to choose between, just a matter of what's free.
Houghton was in a very similar spot in the previous round. This time, well, he's over towards break room instead of being up in security, so he's also got the balcony to play off of. This Oryx pick that we saw in the Dark Zero Astralis match that came before this one emerges yet again. And it's a similar spot to where we see Oryx's play on this map, which is towards the main door, towards the stairs. And if you need to, you can charge through one of the soft walls, you can head into bathroom, you can go wherever you'd like. And it is very telling that Spacestation have left all those panels soft from Workshop into bathroom, because this is a bathroom teller's defense. You don't need any hard destruction to open that up. Skies looked like he was heading for the hills, but he gets shut down by Rexon on a very good read. Rexon particularly has come online for SQ. They need more of Rexon if Soniqs want to be able to close this gap and prevent Spacestation from winning the match. But they need more of Kansan too. He's been the superstar performer, and Rexon and Kansan are both down. Grixer swats away at Fultz as we're back to a 3v3. And it's Yeti to spy one player from Spacestation, but be unable to capitalize off of it. Hot and Cold gets away free, scot-free, some would even say. Grixer's second kill comes on to Bosco. Toxic Canister delays Spacestation, but Hot and Cold still plunges through it. Takes damage in the process, but no kills to be found. Advantage in favor of Soniqs, and they've got their Finka up as well. Oh, nice shot by Grixer. That's 3 kills to his name, and a 4th is Hot and Cold. And there it is, a quad kill from Grixer, as Soniqs do it slowly, but surely. And that's their 2nd round in a row. That's an attacker-sided border that we're seeing here. Only 1 round for the defenders so far. I think Spacestation understands the trouble. They've called a timeout.
And I mean, you gotta do it sooner rather than later, right? Like now it's 5-3, the score is slowly evening back up, and I do think you leverage man advantages or positions on the map, because fighting 1-to-1 will almost always favor the zoom scope attackers on a long range because they do so much damn damage. I mean, the ARX from Rexon on the Iron have 47 damage a pop, that's per bullet. You'll die in 3 shots when you're playing on LAN. You have no time to win when you play MPX Warden inside security. That's been the name of the game so far. Bit of a gun change-up, an operator change-up as well from SSG. Hot and Cold not getting the alibi, so the 1.5x gets his shield. Well, Mai has the 1.5x, can also fight back. Fultz, and he's like very recognizable operator of the Maestro, where you get, you know, your Alta, your LMG and defense, you get some solid information to rely upon. Then you got the staples, the mute that gets brought every single round because of wall deny, making the hard breach knife difficult, making the drones difficult, and of course the smoke that can deny you and buy you more time. And let's look at Yeti for a second, who's 1-7. He's playing Blackbeard. Blackbeard, like this is an operator that gets played like never, ever, ever, ever.
Hold on a second, APAC exists.
Sure.
APAC does seem to like Blackbeard a little bit more.
A little bit more.
No utility. None.
No. Not even flashbangs. You got claymores, you got your shield. This is so weird to see.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about those kills, because over the last 2 rounds, Rexon and Grixer are responsible for 8 of the 10 kills that have been found from Soniqs. So, pretty good spot to be in. 1 kill from Kansan, 1 kill. Oh! 1 kill from Kansan, 1 kill from Super. Down goes Yeti. Blackbeard shield broken, but Diffuser being planted. Can they shut them down in time? Fultz and Skies picked off by Soniqs. Just like that. Diffuser goes down, and they get out of there as quickly as they can. So the Blackbeard was but just a bait. Hot and Cold and Rampy so low on HP. The timeout obviously not working as well as it could. Track Stingers to deny Spacestation towards the diffuser. There's Finka down and out, but the gridlock is there, and that's Kansan to shred through them. Spacestation in trouble, but they've evened the odds. Kansan with the P90 in hand, or rather, that F90 doing tons of damage. It's Rampy to get caught over towards Armory. Oh, just a little bit of damage. That's all it takes. Grixer shuts him down. That was a quick one. Soniqs get cute with it. Sometimes cute works, and that's 3 in a row for Soniqs. They're 1 round away from tying things up.
I know Soniqs and Super, they like their rush plans with like a Mauer and Ying and stuff because they did it last week on Bank where they were flying the CEO window up top, just like smoke everything, flash everything, and plant. This round it was Super who went on sandwich window, tossed out the smoke grenades, tossed out a bunch of candelas, rappelled in, started planting, while one member of Soniqs was on the Armory soft wall breach, covering from that angle. Then the Archives balcony players, they opened up the soft wall as well and covered the opposite angle. So because that Soniqs knew the bomb site was relatively clear, and because they had the Ying to buy them time and distraction, they could actually get the bomb down and just play for the post plant. And Yeti was on this Blackbeard halfway across the map who like didn't really do anything, but at the same time he did so much because he took the attention of multiple members of the opponent and he bought enough time and map presence for Soniqs to get down the plan they wanted. And it's a success. A plant, an opening kill, and 3 rounds in a row. And remember, what happened before that rush plant on the previous round was that SSG took a tactical timeout so they could talk together for about a minute about what to do next. What happens? The next round is over in 45 seconds because you get rushed. That is going to suck because it feels like you took that entire timeout only to get cheesed right after and you get caught off guard. That is not what SSG prepared for. It is not what they talked about at all because you cannot expect these things to happen.
Well, I mean, Blackbeard might not have worked out. It was a fascination for us, but other than that, the actual strategy with Soniqs worked. And look, they seem to be quite quick yet again, 30 seconds in. They want a piece of this bomb site. SSG calls their timeout, but the one thing that we don't often highlight, but do from time to time, not all the time, but sometimes, is that the other team gets to talk.
Yeah.
So Goddess got to speak to her team while there was that timeout, and maybe there was a pocket strat that was called out by Soniqs. Not entirely certain. Either way, Soniqs in commanding spot on this half. Still trailing, but as close to a tie as you're going to get. This is eerily similar to what we saw out of the Astralis Dark Zero game. This is typical border things.
It is.
Waiting to see when a second round will be won by the defense, because it has not been found just yet. Attackers in good spot.
There it is. Kansan gets taken down by Rampy, so SSG finding an opening kill. It's been a while since we've had those. In fact, it's the first opening kill we've gotten on their defensive side. It wasn't an immediate trade, at least.
Because it was a trade last round when they killed the Blackbeard.
Yep.
But, I mean, still, I guess they technically get it. Yeti answers back, by the way. No Blackbeard for Yeti. They've got him on a very different weapon. Arguably better than the Scar that we see Blackbeard bring, which is the C70 in the hands of Jackal. Absolutely. If you're worried about Spacestation on this workshop defense, roaming a little bit too aggressively, Jackal is just the operator to identify where those roamers are and cause some, what do you want to say? Cause some consternation in the defense.
It's a big word.
SSG are still quite far off site. Diffuser has not been retrieved yet by Soniqs. There we have it. Rexon has picked it up. Very quick to the punch in the previous round to get the objective play down. But Soniqs, after that fast start, have kind of taken their foot off the gas pedal. Maybe I spoke too soon because there's a grenade in hand. And its swinger be swung by Bosco, who now hits the ground. Grixer, hungry for this kill, but needs to be wary of what might come his way. Dances around a Nitro Cell. Nice shot from Bosco. Yet another from Spacestation. And the diffuser is being planted by Super. Can they shut him down? That is the question. Down goes Rampy by Rexon. And again, the objective play mighty good. All with the help of a smoke that was tossed on out. What little HP is left of Rexon aligns with Super and they get out of the building while Soniqs will sit and wait for the remaining 30 seconds. If they are successful here in the post plant, they'll be in great shape, but Fultz using the passive of Aruni to great effect. Down goes Yeti. Rexon on a sliver of HP. Super creeping up on Jail. In he goes, but they don't see him. Skies looks the other way. He's right there, and he guns him down. You'll have to hop on the diffuser. Rexon on the upside down repel, but Fultz shuts him down. And there's plenty of time for Spacestation to get it. Hot and cold happy about that. Match point as the defense finally wins a second round. And SSG are 1 away from a victory over Soniqs.
What a ridiculous post-plan slash retake from both teams. I mean, the fact that two people just walk past each other twice. None of them hear one another. No real fight happens. A backstab occurs instead. And the last member is Rexen rappelling upside down with basically no HP to help him. And SSG, they get that done. I want to say Foltz really did the most work there. He punched open the hatch in security. Didn't just drop it. He thought somebody might be downstairs inside of customs. Punched the ceiling instead and found the kill. And that right there buys them so much control and also the man advantage. It just snowballed from there, and SSG, I mean, we saw it. They ended up finding every single kill and the defuse at about 10 seconds left, give or take, and that's match point. Now they're really in a position where Soniqs can feel the pressure, and Soniqs keep getting away with these plants, and it's a bit cheesy how they do it, because they'll just kind of do it off pace where it looks like they're not ready for it, then they'll toss out a smoke grenade, which Super has in his own pocket, he just starts planting, the bomb goes down, SSG, they're like, what? What is happening? Meanwhile, the members of Soniqs are just holding on to the map that they care about. You know, the one floor, or the one room rather, above the bomb site, and then you're just covering every single entry point that defenders might try and use, and it's working really, really well for them. It's just that specific post plan that we saw last round, it wasn't super well thought through, the positions weren't fortified, they couldn't help one another, and therefore, ultimately, SSG, they got those 1v1s. Let's see if they can do it again. It's a bathroom defense here in our possible last round. Thorn is being brought to the party with Rambi on 10 kills, wanting to get active on that Uzi gun.
Rambi and Foltz both sitting on 10 kills, mind you.
True.
Hot and Cold not too far behind on 9. This is the type of thing from Spacestation that we are used to. Again, I remember fondly the Foltz and Rambi kill everything days, allowing the supporting cast to sit farther back. Bosco, who's been one of the flagging performers for Spacestation, he's actually doing mighty fine himself and has had some really crucial plays in the mid-round. On the side of Soniqs, we briefly touched on how Grixer and Rexen had woken up on this half, but the real story has been Kanzan, and there he is to start off this round with a kill on the Hot and Cold. 1 minute off of the board, and SSG down in numbers. And despite the fact that Hot and Cold has 9 kills, he hasn't been surviving very effectively. 10 deaths to his name, all but 1 round he has failed to see the end of.
No, it's true, and I mean, he just gets very active in the round, and he might get stuff done, but also gets taken out. Now we see Soniqs aggress once again, taking a bit of a time to figure out, is there gonna be somebody from above looking for a flank? Super, he hears it, he reads it, he sees it. The distraction from that impact grenade might cost him.
Oh my, and he's so close to death. That could have been an easy pick for Spacestation. They find one on a Kanzan, well off of our field of view. Foltz still playing above.
Looking for something.
Soniqs are looking for something, exactly, and there they are. Guess what? They're in the middle of the bomb site. Does Spacestation know this? Down goes Foltz. Bosco splattered from lobby, up on the rafters, and Soniqs are hitting their marks. Rampy, as you talked about, doing an excellent job with the Uzi, but he misses out of the diffuser being planted. What is it with these teams? That's 8 diffusers planted, and suddenly it's a 2v2 with a retake needing to happen in the next 30 seconds, or Spacestation loses the round out to Soniqs, which is exactly what's happening. Nice!
Super!
Blick from Super. It doesn't look like he was aiming for it, but he gets it either way. Sometimes they just gift you that. Whatever higher power you believe in, they gift you that. Super gets the final 2 kills to close out that round, and we will need all 12 to settle this.
That we will. I mean, Super doing a lot of work so far on the server. I mean, he's finding openings, going in fast, getting down the diffuser pretty much every single round almost at this point. 3 in a row for them. And opening kills, I mean, mostly going in favor of Soniqs. It's Kanzan, as we saw in the previous round, finding an early pick onto Hot and Cold really cost them. And SSG, they weren't happy with what happened. They're going to try and go back to the bathroom Taylor's bomb site and thinking that maybe this time, if that early first minute doesn't fall apart, we can get this win. Rambi, one big note went from Thorn, who is still an aggressive operator, but with that information gadgetry with those mines, will instead go on to the Vigil that is much more movable as an operator, right? You can't get droned that well, you can sneak around, you can go for flanks, and you also get those impact grenades that Rambi loves to use dynamically to try and harass his opponents in the server and bully them. But he kind of bullies himself, or gets bullied by Foltz rather. That impact grenade did a bit of damage to Rambi. No healing on their side of the defense, which means that you gotta just deal with this 75 or so HP being the max for Rambi in this round so far. Yeti really doing a good job at flexing. Not, of course, finding the absolute most value right now, but still playing a crucial role for his team. Showing the 0 of all operators. It's like not super common to be played on border. I imagine he's going to try and get more value by putting down his Argus cameras so that there's information to be had, so that when the first member of Soniqs dies, they can go on those cameras and they can find out where the members of SSG they might be roaming.
I don't say this following sentence very often, but there was a good post on the main Rainbow Six subreddit.
Okay.
Those words do not escape my lips all the time. But I will say that it was talking about how, selfishly, Zero is one of the best solo queue operators. A great gun with a good rate of fire, good damage, reliable recoil. You can bring the hard breach gadget. You've got 4 gadgets yourself of those Argus launchers, those Argus cams, to clear away utility, open things up. And there's a Gon 6 available.
Yeah.
Zero just doesn't really fit into the meta because lack of explosives outside of that Gon 6. There's usually better options, especially if you're going to go flank watch, which a lot of the times those Argus cams are used for. You're going to bring a Nomad, maybe even a Gridlock, some teams like that. But ultimately, if you're watching this, you should play Zero more often. That's all. That's it.
That's it. Yet he has used 3 of those Argus cams, so information is what he's being used for right now. And like, look at the walls being soft in bathroom. And as Bosco stops this push with Skies above with that vertical play, it looks like Soniqs might just rush in on in rather. But Sky shuts down Rexon instead. That's a box. It's a huge kill. That's half the soft destruction. It was the member who's about to blow open those side walls in just a moment.
Very, very close to getting in, and Rexon, again, has been one of the better performers for Soniqs in the second half. Rough first half, only getting a single kill to his name through the first 6 rounds. Since then, much better. We keep seeing these like sixth senses as to where people are. Super is on drone, and on that cam, he's standing there. Oh, they know that he's in that position. Kansan throws in a nade, it blows up Rampy. Numbers are back to even, 1 minute to go. Confronting the castle barricade inside of Passport is the next step for Soniqs. Then they need to clear out the lobby. There's more reinforcements and castle barricades over there too, and then sitting on the bomb site is Hot and Cold, but he doesn't have the best artillery to deal with any potential foes that come his way. UMP in hand is not exactly ideal. Oh, look at this. Sky's could have picked up on 2. The Fink is in the middle of the bomb site. Grixer is just in. Do they know this? Swatting away? No. Hot and Cold panics. There's 2 targets and he can't find the right spot. Super attempts the diffuser plant, falls off. Skies to the rescue, but Grixer sees him and shuts him down. 3 kills. It's Fultz to clutch out, but he has no information whatsoever. And peeked from the hatch, down goes Grixer, but Fultz has more to find. Towards the window where the players from Soniqs have escaped. This might slip through the fingers of SSG. A valiant effort. Hard pressed to imagine Fultz getting out alive. If he walks towards the bomb site, he'll be cut across from the angle on his right towards Passport, and that's exactly what happens. But it's Yeti to secure the final kill, and Soniqs propel us to overtime.
That they do, and I mean, SSG actually won a great position there, but then they played so passive. Skies never peeked blue once. Members of Soniqs just walked on by, no help from the member on the side, and then they capitalized. They got the side control. They started planting, and sure, you got vertical control up above on Fultz, but he can't do anything with it because the entirety of the side is lost, and it's a retake for him in a 1 versus 4 situation. So while it was a great position, if you don't peek out, if you don't take chances sometimes, well, they can just slip right on in through those gaps and those cracks, and that's exactly what they did. Soniqs once again reading beautifully where and when they can just walk into side, use a smoke grenade and start planting. In those last 4 rounds, between round number 9 and round number 12, they planted every single one of those rounds. That is how much work Super is putting in right now just to finding those openings, and he's got 4 kills.
I mean, I don't know if you watched his companion stream yesterday to EUL, but if you did, with how thoroughly he torched Prano and G2 for their misgivings with defusing, he would have had to have had a big day today. If Prano was a steak yesterday, he wouldn't just be well done. He would be the ash that fell through the grill itself with how badly Super torched him and the rest of G2.
It was a rough game, to be fair. It was.
Game?
Games. Okay, I'll fine. It's been a rough season for them so far.
Has not been ideal. Do my eyes deceive me, by the way? Have we had 9 diffusers planted of the 12 rounds? Because by my count, that's the number that I'm at.
Yeah.
That is remarkable.
Yep. That is a lot of plants.
That 9 plants going down, that is phenomenal stuff. Hasn't all been super, by the way. I mean, like, he's gotten 4 for his team, all 4 for his team, but it's spread out as well. Bosco had 5 on his side of things. So yeah, 9 indeed. Excellently done by these two players. First casualty is Yeti. He's having a really rough game. A really, really rough game. Sitting at 4-11 on the roaming Mozzie. He's no more. 1 minute in action and he is gone. This is a ventilation workshop defense down below. Soniqs will defend twice if required. Obviously no unlimited overtime. It's a best of 3 rounds when you go to OT here at the NAL.
Yep. So every single round matters oh so much now. I mean, often when you go into OT, you see teams slowing down because the pressure rises up, but it seems like SSG are kind of saying we're going to keep speeding up and just keep up the momentum here and, you know, make sure Soniqs, they can feel us slowly choking them out. That's what they do. Rexen falls back, it's spotted despite sprinting out, drops the hatch too. It can always go up again, of course, but this is SSG with good map control so far. With 1 minute and 20 to go, they've gotten everything they need to start setting up for the plant. Do the vertical play, drone out the bomb set, and figure out where is a safe position to plant in. This is what Soniqs did so well when they were on the attacking side. Now we gotta see if SSG can match that kind of vibe and figure out, or rather problem solve the issue at hand.
Oh, shot by Rampy. A super peeks the broken barricade in the lobby.
Oh, it's a
now
clone.
it's Rexen for a potential run out, but the clone of Fultz gives away Rexen's position. They know he's by the main door. Primed and ready. Fultz could have greeted the aggressiveness that we would have seen from the players of Soniqs. Instead, they open up some of the wall, and that should be an Evil Eye taken care of. Rexen does net a kill. It's on Disguise. Not necessarily the intended target, but then from above, Kansan does some damage to Rampy and to Houghton to boot. Suddenly, Spacestation finds themselves on the wrong side of the equation. Fultz is next to fall. It's Bosco to clutch out. The clutch minister, as we've called him before, but this is a very different map, and this is a very different team than he's used to playing against. They know exactly where he is, and he's got 2 layers to this as well, both the main floor and the top floor. This is tough. It'll be a game of keep away, and he sees the head of Grixer, but far too late. Soniqs move to match point.
I mean, this is just Kansan stealing rounds and taking numbers right now. He should never get away with that flank, let alone get both kills, as Gridlock had to try and flank around. And I mean, with the DMR as well, you gotta be pinpoint accurate. You can't just hold down the nift click and pray for your life. And it was a 5 versus 3 essentially. I got turned around. Kansan found 1, Kansan found 2, leaving Bosco all alone. 7-6 now, as the Soniqs have made what we can call a comeback, because they were off to a poor start, given the attacking favorite circumstance of the border matchup.
If we can't call this a comeback, I have no idea what we can call it. Since the side swap, when Space Station was up 5-1, the Soniqs have only dropped a single round. That's it.
Yep.
And they've done it on both attack and now defense. Keep in mind that Soniqs on defense won a single round. That was on workshop ventilation. They dropped it the second time they went there. This time, they go back to that bomb site, and they prevail. So this is clearly a comfortable area for them. Again, that's the bomb site that has the best statistical chance for the defenders to win on border. You can't go back there, though. This is not a defender-sided map. So there is absolutely no reason to believe that Space Station will win this round based on what we've seen so far. But let's say, hypothetically, they do. Now Soniqs need to defend a second time, and they haven't won any other bomb site. That's a daunting task. So a lot of pressure right now on both of these teams. Soniqs are the only team that has a little bit of wiggle room because of the fact that they can't be knocked out if SSG wins this round.
Agreed. Thing to note here is that Super no longer has smoke grenades in his pocket. He has been using those every single round to plant for himself. Rexen on the Twitch is going to bring those smokes instead, and Yeti being brought onto Ace again to kind of keep him more on the supportive side, just like when he played the Zero. It seems to work better for them because if Yeti hasn't had the greatest time right now, it also enables both Rexen and Super to get more damage done. So swapping around the cards of who gets to have a say in, you know, the map presence and who gets to choose like what utility gets spent, I think it's a wise choice. Enable Kansan, enable Grixer, and then Rexen and Super can play around that with Yeti on full-on support.
Flores is a phenomenal operator to deal with what's being brought from Space Station. I have no doubt this is partially due to the strength of that attacker repick system, because you see the Banshees, you see potential mute jammers, you see the Maestro cams, you see the alibi clones, and suddenly Those Rotero drones from Flores prove invaluable. Rexon gets the very first kill on the hot and cold. 4 kills away from Soniqs picking up a much-needed win in the books. But a Nitro Cell will doom Yeti. Yeti, the first one to die for Soniqs on most of these rounds, but still the opening pick goes in favor of SQ.
Yeah, but it also means your only hard breach is off the board, which ventilation bomb set is not the the end of the world, so to speak, but it's not ideal either. Rampy being injured, of course, favors the attackers, and not sure how he got injured because
I believe that was a nade, by the way. Yeah, that was at least the telltale sound of a nade. No confirm for Kansan, so instead you'll go on to drone work and look for the blood on the ground. There you go. So you've got a confirm available. Another nade goes in this time.
Does that even get him?
No, it won't.
He's gonna bleed out. He'll be fine.
Unless somebody from SSG can retrieve him, then numbers will go back in favor of Soniqs. Close enough to the bomb site, but there's a Maestro cam that will thwart their advance. No Rotero drones left for Super. So those drones going elsewhere. Skies will be the first line of defense, but he peeks to Super. Suddenly he and Kansan are in. It's only one more player as Rampy's about to bleed out. Bosco will again be put in a clutch position, but this one's even harder than before. Rampy tried to impact. That's how he downed himself. Unideal, a kill from Bosco. 3 more to be found. Match on the line for Space Station. But Bosco has precious little information. As he peeks, he knows that Super's there. He wins that gun duel, but 2 more to be found, and these will be harder targets. Both Kansan and Rexon. Kansan in particular has been phenomenal for Soniqs. Who will be credited with the final kill on the Bosco, or will he be able to pull this off? 11 seconds remain. That's as much as he can get before the time of no return for the diffuser. He baits out the sledgehammer, and now under fire gets finished off by Kansan from above. 2 separate players from Soniqs, 2 separate assists, but only 1 kill to be found. And just like that, Soniqs trailing, but they come alive when it's most needed, and they end up toppling Space Station 8-6.
In a phenomenal comeback as well. I mean, a couple of rounds were just, you can say